Have you ever wondered why some investigations, especially the ones that promise to shake the world, seem to just fizzle out? You hear about a bombshell case, it's all over the news, everyone is talking about it, and then suddenly silence. It is like a door slammed shut right when you're about to see what's inside. Today, we're going to talk about one of the most talked about, yet enigmatic cases of our time, the Epstein files. And we're not just going to rehash the headlines. We're going to explore a deeper question. Why do some truths seem destined to remain locked away? This isn't just about one man. It's about a web of power, influence, and a system that sometimes seems designed to protect itself above all else. The story itself is one that captured global attention. A financier with connections that spanned from Wall Street to Buckingham Palace, from politicians to movie stars. The allegations were disturbing, and the public outcry was deafening. Justice was demanded, and for a moment it seemed like it might actually be delivered. The case exploded into the public consciousness. News channels covered it 24/7. Social media was a frenzy of speculation and outrage. Everyone, from your neighbor to world leaders, seemed to have an opinion. There was a collective feeling that this was it, a moment of reckoning where wealth and power would not be enough to shield someone from the consequences of their actions. The expectation was clear. Transparency. People wanted names, dates, and details. They wanted the full story, no matter how uncomfortable. The promise of sealed documents, lists of powerful associates, and flight logs fueled a global hunger for disclosure. It felt like we were on the brink of a monumental revelation, one that could redefine our understanding of power dynamics in the modern world. The stage was set for a trial that would be watched by millions, with the world holding its breath, waiting for the curtain to be pulled back. But then things started to get complicated. The narrative, which seemed so straightforward at first, began to slow down. The promised unsealing of documents was met with delays, legal challenges, and redactions. What was once a torrent of information became a slow, frustrating drip. Every small release was dissected, but it often raised more questions than it answered. A name would be mentioned, but the context would be missing. An event would be described, but the key players would be anonymized. This is where the real tension began to build. It wasn't the loud, explosive tension of a courtroom drama, but the quiet, creeping tension of institutional silence. It felt like we were looking at a puzzle with most of the pieces deliberately hidden. The legal system, which is supposed to be a tool for uncovering truth, started to feel like a barrier. Why the hesitation? Why the constant delays? Was it just standard legal procedure, or was something else at play? The public's initial hope for a swift, clear resolution gave way to a growing suspicion. A suspicion that perhaps the system wasn't just investigating a crime. It was managing a crisis. A crisis that involved names so powerful and institutions so foundational that full disclosure was deemed too damaging, too chaotic. The silence wasn't empty. It was heavy with unspoken implications. And this is where the story takes a fascinating and deeply unsettling twist. As the focus on the central figure faded following his death, the real story began to emerge. The conversation slowly shifted from the guilt or innocence of one person to the nature of the system that allowed such a situation to exist in the first place. It was no longer just about a list of names. It was about the network itself. The mechanisms of power, influence, and mutual protection that operate in the highest echelons of society. The twist wasn't a sudden reveal of a secret villain. It was the dawning realization that the problem wasn't just a few bad apples. The problem was the orchard. The focus moved from individual accountability to systemic complicity. We started to see that the delays, the redactions, the legal maneuvering, it wasn't just about protecting individuals. It was about protecting the integrity of the institutions those individuals represented. Finance, politics, even royalty. The fear wasn't just that a few powerful people would be embarrassed. The fear was that faith in the entire structure could crumble. The narrative was no longer a simple story of crime and punishment. It had become a complex cautionary tale about how power protects itself. The real scandal wasn't just what happened on that island. It was how the system itself reacted when the curtains were threatened to be pulled back, revealing the machinery that runs the world behind the scenes. So what's the real lesson here? Is it that the powerful can get away with anything? That the truth will always be buried? I don't think so. The real lesson is more nuanced. Power doesn't always erase the truth. What it does, very effectively, is delay it. It complicates it. It wraps it in red tape and legal jargon until many people lose interest or become too confused to follow the thread. By turning a clear story into a convoluted mess, the system buys itself time. It allows outrage to cool, attention to wander, and the narrative to be reshaped. But the truth has a funny way of surviving. It might be delayed, but it rarely disappears completely. The Epstein files, in their partial, frustrating, and incomplete state, still tell a powerful story. They show us the lengths to which the powerful will go to maintain the status quo. They serve as a permanent record, a bookmark in history that says, something happened here. And perhaps the most crucial takeaway is this: the fight for transparency is a marathon, not a sprint. The silence and delays are not a sign of defeat, but a tactic. And the best way to counter that tactic is with persistent, unwavering public attention. The door may have been slammed shut, but we all know it's there. And people will keep knocking, because some truths, no matter how long they are delayed, are eventually meant to be opened. Thank you so much for watching. If this topic sparked a thought or a question, drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your perspective. And if you enjoy deep dives like this, consider subscribing for more. See you next time.